Greetings, fellows. Welcome to Nathan Hood and the Merry Corncrakes. I am Nathan Hood, and I will soon be joined by two very merry corncrakes who belong to the Corncrake magazine. Corncrake magazine, you can find it at corncrakemag.com. It is filled with fantastic stories, both classic authors and independent writers in our sphere today. It really is very, very high quality, and you can get it for free. You can read it online for free at thecorncrakemag.com. So go over there after this stream and check it out. Now, for those of you who have seen it before, the Corncrake, you may have noticed that every month there is a section which deals with a specific county, and it will show you a bit about the county's history, about its culture, about its place in the history of England, and also its flag. So, for example, recently there was Northumberland in the Corncrake, and it had its beautiful yellow and red striped flag. And so this got us thinking at the Corncrake: what are the top 10 county flags in England? Joining me to discuss, debate, to fight over this issue, there is none other than the editor of the Corncrake, Shield Maiden. Hello, Shield Maiden. How are you doing?
Good howdy, I am well.
This is good to hear. Have you been thinking hard about your county flags?
Yes, and I shall approach this with logic, reason, and good marketing.
I am glad to hear it. And especially as, you know, we have strong disagreements about what the top flags are, don't we? So you're going to have to bring your A game to defeat me, I think.
Perhaps I shall win and you need to bring your A game.
Fighting words. And the way this is going to work is that we have both drafted our top 10 flags, and we will pit each flag against each other, and we will try to persuade an all-seeing, all-knowing judge who will be able to determine which is the best flag out of the two. So all that remains for me to do is to welcome this high supreme judge, this great man, this great artist, this superior being. It is Mr. T. Meadows. Hello, Mr. Meadows. How are you doing?
Chirpity chirp. Doing well. Thank you.
Good to hear. Now, we are wondering, what will you be looking for in a flag? What is your kind of criteria for judging these flags? And you sent me a couple to show, so I'll bring those up now so that you can talk us through what you're thinking here.
Yeah, in general, I have quite the affinity for, or I quite like older flags. That's especially the ones you find before the Napoleonic Wars, which has animals and crests and figurative motifs in them. Lots of modern flags, especially in Europe, they all tend to fall into this category of, three stripes, which is usually seems to be some kind of watered down version of blood, soil, and spirit, like red, white, and blue, and so on. And in some older cases, it was red, white, and black, depending on what kind of pigments were available to where the flags came from.
So you're looking for something with a bit more character to it, and
yes,
mythology, symbolism, perhaps.
Something that's inspiring, something not just purely in the abstract. Something, since especially when it's in a region, I think it's good to root it in something concrete, not just an abstract concept.
So this is the Kingdom of Prussia, right? Is that
no,
correct?
This is one of the flags from the Holy Roman Empire, which later inspired the flag of the Kingdom of Prussia. It has the same eagle, but different color composition, or different colors. I quite like this. Oh,
sorry. There we go.
One of the things I quite like with this flag is that it's symmetrical and asymmetrical at the same time. You have later on in this empire, you have a version that is more symmetrical, an eagle with two heads, which I find a bit more boring because it's completely symmetrical. But I like the way that the head of this eagle, even though it kind of looks a little bit like it doesn't completely appreciate what it got served for lunch, like that profile adds to the strength. It breaks up the symmetry.
I mean, it looks mysterious in that respect.
Mm.
It
Another
looks
this flag is the clear and strong contrast between the background and the motif.
Hmm. Yes, it really kind of popped the image.
Yes. This is in a similar vein. This is the flag of the Kingdom of Bhutan. I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I think it's Bhutan or Bhutan.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Bhutan. It's in East Asia. I think it's bordering on China. It's the same concept where here the motif is white, and it is. I think it's one of these Eastern dragons which brings luck. And I don't know if this is because it's established in. Because the flag was established at the year it was or so in the Chinese calendar, but it's also referred to as a thunder dragon.
Mm. And I particularly like how it snakes up the line here. So there's a very pleasing. It still kind of has that core running through it, but it's able to kind of merge between the two colors.
Yes.
So here are three of your other flags here.
Yes. They're more typical of those flags that I mentioned that you see that are quite abstract, but they're not as abstract because all of them have crosses. All of them at least has the guts to have at least a religious connotation in it. All of them has, you have the flag of Denmark here, which I like because it is, because it's what is known as the Scandinavian cross, which is turned on its side, which looks really cool in the wind because it kind of looks like the flag is like flying across the sky.
Mm-hmm.
And crosses in general is also a cool symbol to have because outside of the religious connotation of Christianity, it also comes with a pre-Christian connotation of mind and spirit converging into action.
Mm.
I think a lot of Scottish county flags have that same Nordic cross on them. We only looked at English flags, so there's not a lot of them with that cross. But yeah, it is actually quite common over here in the UK as well.
Scotland also get a plus because it's a cross of a particular saint, which kind of roots it a bit more because this is a cross of Saint Andrew.
That's right. Yeah. And indeed, the cross itself mirrors the story where Saint Andrew said, he was going to get crucified, but he didn't want to be crucified in the way that Jesus was because that was too high an honor. So he asked for it to be in the shape of an X. So
a bit like Saint Peter.
Yes.
Who also didn't see himself fit to be crucified the same way as Christ.
So yeah, it very much ties in, and you're right, Shield Maiden. There's a lot of Nordic influence in Scotland, especially the north of Scotland. Somewhere like Orkney, the flag is actually kind of a mixture. It almost looks like the Norwegian flag.
Isn't the Shetland one? The Shetland one is the Nordic cross too.
I'm not totally sure, but I would imagine so.
I know there's a number of them. A lot of them.
Yeah.
If the vertical beam is shifted to the side, that is what is known as a Scandinavian cross. It's the same cross that you have in Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and so on. I give a small plus to Denmark over the other Scandinavian flags because one, it's really, really old, so they really stuck to the tradition for a long, long time, and it also has particular dimensions compared to the other flags.
Interesting.
And then there's another one here that is more centered. That is the flag of the royal family of Savoy.
I thought it was Switzerland.
No. The cross in Switzerland does not go all the way out to the border, and the flag of Switzerland also is more square, not as rectangular as this one. And what all of these have in common is that they have a glowing motif in the middle, so the cross, like the sign of action, on a darker background, it kind of glows in the wind, which is something I really appreciate.
Well, I think we've got a good setup here of what you might be looking for in these flags. So I think with that, shall we begin, ladies and gentlemen? And people in the chat, if you want to put your list in or or vote on which one you think of these is in each round. Go for it. Go for it. I mean, we're not a democracy here. We are definitely monarchic, authoritarian, so it won't make a difference to the score. But you should do it anyway. Just imagine you're in charge. That's what I would say. Yes. So here we go. Number 10, Buckinghamshire v Middlesex. And Shield Maiden, I will give you the honour of going first on this.
So all of my flags are on the right and yours on the left. That's right.
That's right, yes.
So Middlesex is my flag. So Middlesex is actually the flag of the county where most of London is situated on. So that has a very long history. The city was built. The Romans, I believe they say, started London, but there was people there long before. And I think it's just aesthetically speaking, it's a very attractive flag. It shows some aggression with some quality swords going on there. And then, of course, like speaking of England and ruling in England, well, London is really one of the main areas where that's taken place. So the crown is there representing the monarchy. And then I think the red makes it a really bright, bold kind of background for the symbols to be on. And I just think it's a unique flag as well, just with the layout of it and the individual symbols, how it's set out on the flag. I think that's quite unique as well. So that is why I chose that flag.
Well, one question I have for you, Shield Maiden, before I go into mine is: are you sure this is a unique flag? Because I think there's another county with 3 swords on it.
So like obviously this is England and the counties are adjacent and related, but I mean like there's not 3 swords on every flag all over the world and all over England and everything. So obviously there's going to be something else with a crown on it, for example. But like I think it does still look unique, even though there may be something else with a few similarities.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, speaking of similarities, I've got Buckinghamshire here with the crown once again, and interesting that it's a similar sort of crown, I think, with the 3 kind of leaves on the top. But this one has the swan chained to the crown, and this is the Bohun family coat of arms. The swan being chained like this, and it's because in Anglo-Saxon times, in fact, the kings of England or the Anglo-Saxons would get their swans from Buckinghamshire, and so ever since that time, the royal swans have come from Buckinghamshire. That's where they are exported from. So it's very ancient. It goes right back to the foundations of this country and indeed of that region. It's the swan itself is very tied to the royals. There's often this idea that you cannot hunt a swan without the king's permission. I don't know if that's still true, but it used to be the case. You would get hunted down if you killed one of the king's swans. So there is this very strong identification of these beautiful, noble, elegant, fierce birds with royalty, and Buckinghamshire is kind of tied into that. And then I think additionally, it kind of locates this coat of arms and these colours locate Buckinghamshire in one of the greatest stories, which is the First Crusade. Godfrey of Bouillon was of this family, and he was the first king of Jerusalem. So I like how it ties Buckinghamshire to Christendom and what it established in Jerusalem.
I'm pretty sure swans are still protected.
Oh, even better then.
Yeah.
So it's still relevant for today then in that respect.
Yeah, I like both of these flags. A small nitpick on the Middlesex areas. I think the motif should be better centered. It goes it goes too far out towards the border.
But is this how the flag is placed on the spreadsheet here?
It could be. Not all the flags were the same dimensions.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it the benefit of a doubt and remove that criticism for now. So, do you know the story about these swords? Is this because the crown is above them? Is this in commemoration of a defeat of a battle at sea or something? Because these seems to be swords hailing from the Middle East.
I don't remember the specific details. Are you Googling that, Nathan?
I can tell you it. I can tell
Yeah,
you.
because it's just I can't run another web page on my computer right now to find details because it will slow down my thing, which is
They are the three. I don't know how to pronounce this, but it's Saxes. So three. They're the symbol of the Saxons. So the county is being tied to the Saxons here, which is kind of interesting, given. I mean, Middlesex, Saxon. There's a definite tie in there, though. The London connection. I'm surprised they would go for this when London has Roman origins.
But it's been London's had people there before the Romans. They might have built two houses close together, but it still had people living there long before the Romans.
True, but the Saxons came a lot later as well.
But I just think like London's just got continuous occupation from Celtic people. Romans did their thing later on, the Saxons, etc. Like it's it's very, very old place.
Saxons, that's interesting. So that might be that these are depicted in this way, in this curved way, to give the illusion of movement. You find this also on certain Mediterranean playing cards, which I think are older than the French and English ones, where spades are also sword, but they're also sometimes curved and braided into each other. But you can see from the types of blade that it's the kind of blade that would usually be straight, but they've drawn them curved for the sense of movement or for the aesthetics of it. So thanks for clarifying that those are Saxes.
I would add to that then. I mean, in bolstering this flag, the heart of Middlesex and London is the River Thames, and I have no idea if that was intentional, but to me it feels like it kind of gives you a sense of the county itself, that it's flowing down through the area.
Yeah. In one way, it gives it a cool effect because it also looks a bit like waves of swords pointing towards the right side of the flag, which is a cool motif. Now, a small nitpick I have on it is that the bend, the way that the bend is drawn, also kind of makes it look like the swords are being broken.
Yes.
Well, bold person to break them over, then, eh?
Yes.
I mean, if you wanted to really look into it, you could interpret this as, well, where does the crown come from? Okay, we've spoken about the Anglo-Saxons being our forebears, but the Normans conquer in 1066, and the line from today's line, although there may be some Saxon heritage, it really begins with William the Conqueror. So would you argue that this is the crown, the Norman crowns, that's bent the Saxon sword?
As the descendants of Normans, yes.
Get her out of here! Get her out!
Ooh. No,
Lots of ancient ethnic feuds here, isn't there? Sorry, Mr. Meadows, I interrupted you.
No, it's completely all right. I was asking about details, and that's what you provided, so I have no complaints. Now, moving on to this swan. Swan is a cool creature. They're nice and aggressive. They're quite fearsome if you meet them, especially the male ones if they have kids. I think they're actually that strong that even if they hit you with a wing, they might be able to break the arm of a 4-year-old.
They hiss worse than snakes.
Yeah, they do.
But look at how this chain is coming out or uncomfortably out of under its tail.
It's going. Yeah, it's making an S shape and coming out from behind the legs. And I don't have as much issue with that. A small nitpick I have with this one is that the head disappears into the wing, so the silhouette becomes. Would it be correct to say that the silhouette gets obfuscated, or it becomes less clear, and that it loses the opportunity of having because it has an open mouth, and it kind of leaves money on the table here by leaving the beak inside the wing, so you don't get the silhouette of the swan like shouting or hissing, which would make it even better. But both as an illustration, it's been taken a lot more care with both wings and chains and details on the beak. It also looks at you, this one. It's kind of menacing. I like it.
Mm-hmm. It's
But
addressing
I'm
you.
sure the Middlesex one is older than Buckinghamshire.
Yes, but that was not what I was looking at now.
But don't they drew things more primitively in the olden days?
Depends on which period. Some periods they draw things more primitive than others. If you go to the Middle Ages, it's after the Roman period or the Greek period, but they also draw things more strangely and more distorted than, for example, ancient Romans or Greeks.
I mean, I think the flag of Middlesex is historically quite old. Buckinghamshire seems to be drawn on motifs which are old, but is a little bit later.
In general, I'm leaning towards Buckinghamshire because the swan in general is just it's most of it is white, whereas the saturation on the yellow and the red on Middlesex seems to be very, very similar. So the hilts and the cross guards and the crown stand out less from the flag than the swan does from Buckinghamshire. And probably the three swords has some kind of symbolic meanings, but there are more creative ways than just repeating the same thing 3 times, where you can use the number 3. So I'm going to have to pick Buckinghamshire on this one.
An excellent choice, if I may say so. And I think the seagulls were agreeing with you in the background there. So
yeah,
yes.
they've been annoying. They
No, they're
squawk
fine.
so sporadically, it's hard to know when to mute and when not.
I think they were intimidated by the swan, to be honest.
Something intimidates them.
Well, let us move on to number 9.
Mm-hmm.
Derbyshire and Kent. I'm happy to let you go ahead first, Shieldmaid.
Well, the county of Kent was started by Hengist and Horsa, and this is their horse symbol. Once again, I'm not sure if the placement of the horse is due to the formatting, if it's meant to be completely in the middle, because right now it's looking close to one side. But I do think, it's as simple as in a white horse on a red flag, but I do think that makes the horse stand out, and the horse is, of course, rearing up and looking very actionable. So I just think, as far as a flag that will grab your attention but also be memorable, this flag is that.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and so I'll just say about Derbyshire that this flag actually was made in 2006, so it's a relatively new flag. The colours are meant to represent aspects of the county. So the green cross in the middle, which is based on the St. George's Cross kind of loosely, is supposed to be the landscape, the green fields, the forests and so on of Derbyshire. It's a very green county, somewhere that you could imagine Middle England, Robin Hood and so on. It's that kind of place. And then the blue are the waterways, the rivers, the lakes, the canals, which make a big part of Derbyshire. And then in the middle is the gold Tudor rose. And the Tudor rose is probably an emblem we're going to see several times on these flags, because it's a huge kind of symbol in English history. Essentially, when the when the House of Lancaster, led by Henry VII or Henry Tudor, defeated Richard of York at the Battle of Bosworth, it overthrew it was the end of the medieval in some senses and the beginning of a new age, the Renaissance, but also the Tudor age, the Tudor dynasty. And Henry VII was super clever, and what happened was he married Elizabeth of York. So the two houses, Lancaster and York, which have been fighting for hundreds of years over the crown, were then united. On the one hand, you had the white rose of York and the red rose of Lancaster. They get merged together to become the Tudor rose. This version obviously doesn't show the white and the red, but it is the Tudor rose, the gold Tudor rose, particularly as Derbyshire was a place where the Tudors had a lot of activity. So that's where this flag get its meaning and color and shape from.
Yeah. So this is a very new flag.
Yes, it was made 2006.
2006.
But the Tudor rose goes back to the 1500s, 1400s, 1500s.
Yeah. I have my issues with the choice of colors here, because they seem to be saturated the same way, so they kind of knock each other out a bit. So you have the strongest contrast you have in this flag is the white borders, which then serve to hide the rose a bit, which I think you can make even larger. And because the outer parts, they're so small, the cross in the middle looks a bit bloated.
It's a giant. These side bits are giant, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that's because there's so many fields in Derbyshire compared to rivers. It's reflective of the geography.
Yeah. Still messes up the composition of the flag. This one is very. This one, you would have to threaten me to pick otherwise. I'm gonna have to go with Kent. The silhouette of the horse is excellent. Lots of movement. Strong, glowing animal in the middle on a deep red. It looks really strong as well. It's easily Kent.
Very much so, and I guess just add what Shieldmaiden said. Hengist and Horsa in the kind of histories are the first leaders of the Saxons in England, and they established the kingdoms of the Saxons in England, defeating Vortigern, the British king, and building their own kind of kingdoms, empires, and so on. So it goes to the very founding of the Saxons in this country, this symbol, and I think it has this kind of wild, vital, untamable aspect to it, right?
Very lively and very rich manes.
Can't be. Horse doesn't have a saddle. It's rear. Yeah. Anything else you want to add, Shieldmaiden?
No, I think I have won this round fair and square. Fair
You have
and
indeed.
horse-shaped, I should say.
Well, let us move to the number 8. Cumberland and Buckinghamshire. Now, we've already had Buckinghamshire win earlier. So, Shieldmaiden, is there anything else you want to add on Buckinghamshire at this point?
Well, I wanted to make the point earlier, which I refrained from saying because it was not my flag at the time, that this flag is not meant to be a tiny little thumbnail on our screen. It's meant to be a thumping great big thing on a flagpole. So I think the problem with the face of the bird blending in with its wing is going to be far less of an issue in that context, because the whole proportions of the flag will be much bigger.
Yeah, I don't buy that argument, because you always see a flag from several meters away.
It depends. But even if you're down below, even if you're just very short, because if you're down below and it's still a huge flag, it's still going to look proportionally bigger than we are seeing here on our screen.
No.
Unless you're a midget.
Proportional is relational, so the relations are the same no matter the distance.
But most flagpoles are not 40 feet into the air.
No. Sorry, you're not getting anywhere with this argument.
Well, I can't go on the history of Buckinghamshire, so I have made my
No,
case. Flaws stated earlier. If you do not accept them, that is fine. But Nathan's already said so much about Buckinghamshire. Well, what I will say is that it is better than Cumberland, because the Cumberland one just looks like a few corrugated cardboard slapped down with some clip art at the top. What are those things even supposed to mean? See, clearly Buckinghamshire is better than Cumberland.
This is
Wait.
getting a bit. This is getting a bit under the belt, but
What?
Yeah, I'm inviting it. That she needs every help she can get, I think. The the Cumberland flag. So Cumberland, unlike a lot of the places we've done so far, is in the north of England.
Mhm.
It's up near towards
The
the
Lake
border of the Scot. Yes, that kind of region. So it's not these kind of nice Saxon heartlands where we're up where the Wildmans still lived, and again, it's a bit like the Derbyshire flag in terms of the reasons for its composition. So it's a modern flag, 2012. The green at the top again is the green fields, and these are Parnassus flowers, which bloom in this part of the country, and they, along with the wavy blue, is supposed to represent both the marshlands of Cumberland, but also that it has a coastline. So it's really reflecting its geography, which is at the heart of the region. And I think I appreciated that. Although a lot of flags with more kind of harder straight lines can be more appealing, I felt this was the best attempt out of all of the flags who include more like curves and so on, like this waviness or whatever. This was the best one, so I thought I would throw it in there as a kind of, I wouldn't say it's well, I guess it's a kind of abstract representation of it, isn't it? So yes, this is my abstract flag, you might say.
I would say it's a stylized flag because it's very clear that it's at least rivers there. Interesting thing what you say about the Parnassus flower. This is not an emblem I've seen before. What drags this flag down are the pale colors together with the white. So when is this made?
2012.
2012.
So there's no excuse really for that kind of thing, is there?
No. If it's made in 2012, there are no excuses that these are the pigments that they had available or anything like this. You could pick any color you want, and the designer has gone for something that looks a bit like a flag that has been put 10 times in the washing machine before they put it up on the flagpole.
Do you think there's any possibility that the particular flag you grabbed off the internet was slightly different colors, or do you think that's a possibility at all?
I can have a quick check, but I'm pretty sure this is the best representation of it.
Because I know some PNGs might look a bit washed out compared to others.
I mean, there's some versions where it's slightly stronger, I would say, but this is the official one. So the others are not the official one. So I think we should stick with this. No, but it's a gentle place, you see. It's gentle as well as wild. It's the gentle flowers. That's how I'm gonna defend this. It would be wrong to make it so distinctive because that would not be a Parnassus flower.
Well, the Parnassus flower is mostly white any case, so the distinct color here would be the surrounding the Parnassus flower, and if they would be darker and more intense, they would make the Parnassus flower shine more as well. So I'm gonna have to give this one to Buckinghamshire.
Insert swan hiss. I daren't try to recreate that.
No, that would end. I think that would deafen all of our ears. So I appreciate.
Probably get you demonetized.
Yeah, hate word and swan.
But is this like a common thread of more modern flags that they go for these kind of
I think
pastel colors that seem to used to be hip in interior design at one point?
It's kind of hit and miss from what I've seen, because sometimes there was never an official flag, so they made one, but they used one based on symbolism, and like the council flag or the coat of arms of some family, that's very old. So
Yeah.
it's not a given, but it often is, I think.
So here we have number 7, and we have the flag of Lancashire on the left
Yep.
and the flag of Leicestershire on the right.
Mm.
So Shield Maiden, take us away.
Yes. So the running fox here is a symbol used all like on many, many different organizations of Leicestershire. So that's kind of, I guess, a symbol of the county for more than just the flag. It's something used quite broadly. I think the red and the white, the juggers, what do you call those juggers? See how the red and the white is not a line, it goes up and down.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure that's on the coat of arms of someone. Of an
Simon
important-
de Montfort. Simon de
him.
Montfort. Yeah, he
Him
was.
that Caesar.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, so this is from his coat of arms. He's an important and famous person associated with the county. Is it the star as well is associated with him? I think the one. I don't know. There's probably a fancy name for that thing because it's not a star. But basically, this flag not only has an interesting design with the red and the white, like it's the asymmetrical but symmetrical at the same time, because the fox is red on a white background, and at the top the star thing is white on a red background. And instead of a boring straight line in the middle, you've got these juggers here. And also the running animal is cool and filled with action. That fox probably looks like it's running as the flag flaps, you know. And then, of course, there's all of this historical detail to it as well. That is my case for this flag.
Well, I think what you're missing in this case is how it characterizes the people of Leicestershire as sneaky and deviant.
No. You're not
The fox is a creature of deviousness and a hassle to farmers across the land. It sneaks into hen houses at night and kills your chickens.
And yet he sneaks his way onto the flag and therefore looks better than the flag of Lancashire.
And then Simon de Montfort, he was once a trusted friend to Henry III. And what's he do? He basically causes civil war. He kidnaps the king. It requires he has the future Edward I in prison, and it's only with him being overthrown that the Plantagenets are restored once again to the throne. This is a sneaky flag for traitors, and it should not be supported in any way whatsoever.
It is an aesthetic flag, which is what matters in this context. And all people who are in England's history are part of England's history, regardless of how good or bad they are. We must accept all.
But we don't need to celebrate all of them, right?
But the fox is on every other symbol. The fox doesn't represent Simon de Montfort, whatever his last name is. But Leicestershire reminds me of red Leicester cheese, which I love.
And I mean, there is red in this flag, so I can appreciate that. Lancashire, this is a relatively simple flag, but you remember I was telling you about the House of Lancaster, and that was one of the houses it's the house that eventually won with the Tudors for the throne of England. A simple red rose, but they have chosen a yellow background rather than the traditional white. But that's because the red and yellow are often used as the county colours in other contexts. So it's a strong colours with the yellow in the middle matching on the outside, so it's kind of permeating it, while the rose speaks for itself. You just know that that's the House of Lancaster when you see it.
Oof. So you mentioned that they chose this yellow over white.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
because I was
cowardice.
No, no, because this is a strong yellow. This is historically like a golden yellow, so it's more something that's akin to wealth and prosperity. So it's a very positive yellow, not like a pale yellow that you find on old plague flags, for example. that they're used on ships to signal that there is disease on the ship. So it's not that kind of yellow. It's a good yellow. This is one of the kinds of yellows that I really appreciate. What I don't appreciate is the yellow together with this kind of red, because it really screams. And it's a color combination that you're often seen on sales in furniture stores and like everything out.
Would you not buy a chair with this design on it? Would it not look absolutely splendid? Something William Morris would have loved.
Maybe if this yellow would also be shiny, so that you could have like the impression of both white and yellow at the same time, then I might be inclined to. And the green is too similar to it. If it was a more earthy green, I think that would help it a bit. But this combination of colors it's screaming a bit. It comes across as screaming, and this combination of red and yellow is used so much on basically ads for sale. So even if it's like the yellow of prosperity, it kind of makes it look cheap.
Well, they say Yorkshiremen, and I'm just imagining this might apply to Lancashire as well, are very tight with their money. So maybe they're saying something without saying something.
Maybe, but it still makes the red scream. Now, this Leicestershire flag, I really like. It's one of the. I think it's the first time I've actually seen a fox on a flag.
Yes, this is good. And
this
this
highly
flag
original.
was created, I'm pretty sure, it was first flown in 2021. So this is a flag made within the last very few years.
So this is the first flag that's made, and that is made recently, that actually handles colors properly.
There's actually a bit more backstory to this, because they ran a competition for the best flag. So a lot of these flags, the modern flags, are from competitions, and there were several submissions, but they felt they couldn't accept this flag or flags like it because I think the fox was already used by the county or something, so like on unofficial flags, so they decided, okay, we can't award that the winner, and nothing else stood out, so they abandoned the competition and just picked this. So it's a kind of Chad move of like, we actually don't want any of your designs, we're going with that one that we ruled out, that was disqualified.
They Boaty McBoat faced it.
Yeah.
Look, they made the right decision.
They did.
Yeah. No, because this flag, it uses the white really well. It uses the white. It makes the details inside the flower stand out, because inside there is black. And at the same time, the silhouette of the flower comes out through very strong. Good action with the fox, which is also a predator, which I like, and they're cunning. The shadow of it is of course what Nathan mentioned earlier. But it's a really cool use of the zigzag line as well, because it alludes. Is this a mountainous region?
Not particularly.
No. Is it a hilly region?
I think there are some hills, but it's not known for its hills or mountains, as far as I'm aware.
No, okay. Well, then it might be a happy accident. But the flower kind of looks also a bit like the sun that rises between the mountains, and as the sun rises.
That sugared line, that's from the coat of arms of our brother.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Sorry. It still makes that illusion, which I really appreciate. So good. So even if it might be an accident with that optical illusion, but good optical illusion, good use of silhouette and action as well. I think so far this is actually my favorite flag of all the ones I've seen. So I give this one to Leicestershire.
Leicestershire wins. I mean, I think it's showing at least there is some hope in the modern age as well, that good flag design can be done right. That is a good thing. So Sorry, go ahead, Shield Maiden.
No, I was just going to think your Lancashire flag was made recently within the last 5 years too, wasn't it?
It was, yes. Although it's based on a design which goes back
Yeah.
hundreds
Yeah.
of years. But currently the score is 3-1 to Shield Maiden, so I've got a lot of catching up to do here.
You
Excellent.
do.
Yes,
We have a
yes.
long ways to go, so there's a chance.
My attempts to denounce this flag fell on deaf ears, unfortunately.
Because you can't beat the fox.
The fox is deceitful, so how could I beat it?
You can't beat foxes with a rose.
Well, speaking of roses, we now have the flags of Lincolnshire and Yorkshire. So take us away, Shield Maiden.
So the reason I chose this one is because the obviously the Tudor roses is a very famous and very English sign and symbol, and I thought that this flag was a particularly fresh, refreshing representation of it. I think often, maybe it's just me, but I kind of think the red rose is seen more often than the white one. But I do think the white rose is very nice, and I think the blue background it goes very well with the white flag. Like the rose stands out properly, and I think it's a very nice shade of blue. So I know it's not the most aggressive flag with swords and knives and aggressive animals on it, but I think for something that's very, very English, this is a really good way for it to be done, because yeah, I just think it's really nice. Maybe it's my feminine nature that appeals to this, because it's just the nicest one that I've seen so far of kind of the calm flags, as it were, because it is a calm flag, but it's not passive.
Well, it's also associated with the House of York, right?
Yeah.
So it's that line of men like Richard III who kill princes in the Tower of London. It's that kind of flag, morally dubious.
Stop bringing that up.
My flag, I'm seeing already people are reacting badly to this flag, but I think it has its own strengths. It's the flag of...
You critique Normans and then you have a fleur de lis on your... Come on.
Well, the flag of Lincolnshire, the city of Lincoln's symbol is the fleur de lis because it is a Norman bastion, a Norman stronghold with its cathedral, dominating the people of England, reminding us that we are still oppressed by the Norman.
Didn't the Romans build Lincoln?
They may well have done that too. But the colours here, well, you have the St. George's Cross in the middle, rooting it in the heart of English life, and that English life is the heart of Lincolnshire. You have the yellow represents the crops of the county. The yellow bellies are also a nickname for locals.
Or cowards. That's the nickname for cowards.
Yes, they're reminding
yellow
yellow bellies. Yes, they're reminding themselves of their nefarious natures. They're showing themselves warts and all. They're not hiding who they are. The blues are the coastal areas and wide skyline, and the greens are the rich green fields again. So again, one of these flags which brings in the geography, but I like the yellow brings out the crops that they have in it. It's part of their lives. They're working people who have a farming agricultural place.
I almost didn't notice the cross in the middle because of the strange different colours on all four corners, just like blended out.
It made me think of a kind of patchwork, a country you've patched your clothes back together. It's kind of that feel to it.
Oh no, that's not good.
It's wholesome. It's rustic.
Is this Lincolnshire flag also made quite recently? Because I think I recognize that kind of shade of green.
I just need to have a quick look. This is one of the ones I didn't actually write down. 2005, It was chosen by popular vote on BBC Radio Lincolnshire.
I see.
This is a Boaty McBoatface.
No. Because Boaty McBoatface was the winner, but they decided not to go with the winner.
Oh, this is worst case scenario, Boaty McBoatface.
This is this is Justin Bieber getting sent to North Korea.
No, this is a good flag. The people of Lincolnshire intuitively knew that
No,
this-
all the old
this
grannies who
person-
listened to the radio. This was not democracy. This was just people who didn't work. It was probably the dole bludgers who voted because they had time off during the day.
Yeah, that is democracy. Um, I like this. I like the I like the historical Norman. How do you pronounce it?
the
Fleur
fleur de lis.
de lis. It's a French lily, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which has this double shape of both a delicate flower, but also reminiscent of a cattle prod.
Mm.
So showing the will, showing the will to command, showing the will to demand, the will to rule, will to power. Basically, it's a cool symbol. I kind of like the asymmetry as well. This is a good flag, but I think they botched it with the yellow. If the yellow was slightly more pale and then provided a stronger contrast in saturation with the other colors, it would be an absolute excellent flag.
It's almost like the yellow of the Lancashire flag, isn't it?
Exactly, and combined with the same kind of yellow, so you get the same kind of screaming effect in the middle, which kind of chokes out the very small lily that they put in the middle of it. It's a cool symbol, but they kind of do it a disservice. They could have kept the cross in the middle, and they could have those lilies in each rectangle around it. That could also work really well.
What do you think of the Yorkshire flag?
I just think it's an excellent flag. You have the clear silhouette of the white flower against the calm blue, and the green petals here, even though they're quite similar in saturation to the blue around it, they're still different enough from the white that, like, the flower of the green leaves, not the petals. The green leaves and the blue really help bring out the silhouette of the flower. So Yorkshire flag is simple and elegant. I'm going to have to give it to Yorkshire, but I see the good intentions in the Lincolnshire flag.
So you're going for the kind of mellow, passive Yorkshire against the will to power Norman conquest Lincolnshire.
But it's not will to power
but
radio.
if Lincolnshire does an eBay with this, and like year after year, like they start shifting the shade of yellow to be slightly more white, so you don't notice it, just like they did with the yellow eBay pages. And after a few years, it was just white. I think Lincolnshire can eBay itself to a higher position.
We'll need to let them know that.
Yeah.
Or maybe they'll have another vote, and you can submit that one in the.
No, we shouldn't have a vote.
Right.
The king needs to travel to Lincolnshire and make an executive decision.
So number 5, we have Leicestershire again, and Berkshire. Now I'll just say on Leicestershire, I argued against it earlier because it was a deceptive flag. But actually, you can see that Simon de Montfort.
Meanwhile, you were being deceptive.
Well, Simon de Montfort was actually standing up to the overreach of the crown and was representing a new baronial class seeking its Magna Carta rights. So I think actually the fox is a good symbol for this county, one of motion, one of speed, one of intelligence and cunning, and a degree of strength, but not overvaluing itself. And it is a strong and powerful, impressive flag, I think. I don't have any more to say on Leicestershire. It's all been said otherwise.
So Berkshire is, I think it's actually a very nice flag as well. Animal motif once again. But so obviously the stag and the oak has long been associated with Berkshire, even though this is a recent design. The symbolism and colours and everything is from a long, long time ago. Basically, in the 14th century, there was a royal huntsman, Herne the Hunter. Nefarious deeds were committed by rivals, and he was dismissed by the king from his royal service. He hung himself in an oak tree, which was struck by lightning, as you can see here on the flag. And the stag here, or hart, is one of the manifestations of his restless spirit. Yes, and also there's a lot of forests in Berkshire as well, royal hunting grounds and that type of thing, because it's right near London and Buckinghamshire and that sort of thing. So a royal area, and yes, I think the flag is pretty cool that it's literally related to a legend. But yes, other than that, like with the design of the flag, I think it's pretty good. I think all of the colours stand out sufficiently so that you can see what is happening on the flag. Nothing is blending in or the wrong colours that swim together or anything awkward like that. So that is the case for Berkshire.
I 100% disagree with you.
On which aspect?
What do you say about the colors? Both the yellow and the green are too close in saturation, so they kind of knock each other out. And the framing of the motif is really off. There has no. It basically makes it look like it is the framing of the flag that breaks the tree. You don't have enough space around it to see that it has been chopped down or struck by lightning. What could have saved this flag was if it had used white outlines. That could have edged it a bit closer, but also the way that the awkward sloping of the hills towards the end would have just looked better flat. Or if they actually went upward to create a more rounded shape in the yellow, so the yellow shape would also act more like a sun. And the deer can also be a lot darker. This is just middle of the road in all aspects.
Well, it was made in 2017, so that's probably the case, even though all of the symbolism is very, very old.
Well, they say though that this flag, men marched into battle under this flag in the Middle Ages.
Clearly, they were paid deer meat they were looking forward to.
Were they mercenaries?
No, these were the men of Berkshire.
I see.
Why do you think they were mercenaries?
Well, maybe somebody paid them to march under this atrocious flag. When Leicestershire cropped up earlier, I was kind of questioning your tastes, Nathan, because this flag was that much stronger. But your character is now redeeming itself because you're rating this flag even higher. And I'm disappointed by Shield Maiden that has basically put this atrocity of a Berkshire flag above Leicestershire.
I would redeem the Berkshire flag. I would change it if it needs changing. Change its color. I don't think the symbolism or anything should be taken. If anything, tweaks. But no, the Berkshire flag should not be thrown out and restart. The only thing that should happen to the Berkshire flag is small improvements. No.
It needs a completely different composition.
But getting rid of the stag under the tree, I would not approve of getting rid of Herne the Hunter. Like the audacity.
No, I'm not saying getting rid of the stag. I'm saying make a proper composition.
But I think most of us who aren't graphic designers like you don't know what that means.
Well, then they shouldn't make flags.
Happily, I do not, or my flag would end up a mixture of both of these two flags we're seeing right now.
You'd have a fox chasing the stag under the oak tree.
Yeah.
I also like Nathan's poker face, slagging off the fox earlier, only to reveal that I actually really like this fox. I like it even better than you do.
Such deceptive behavior.
Yeah. Which really matches the fox on the flag as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
But that aside, easily goes
trust
to
men to
Leicestershire.
be like this.
I would not impugn all men with my fox-like deviousness. But I mean, you have to. If we go back to what I was having to defend, yes, the Lancashire. I had to pull every trick out of the book to try and get Lancashire in the door there. So
Yeah.
you know.
We should have just got a different flag.
Well, we shall see later on. But I'm guessing, Mr.
But I
Bedwell, that
approve
you're
your
going for
decision to put
Leicestershire.
this Leicestershire flag above the Lancashire flag.
Thank you. I'm taking it. I'm getting a point for this round.
That is a point on your person, yes, but this is a competition between flags.
Yes. So Leicestershire wins again. It's a strong contender. So let us move on to number 4. We're into the top 5 now. Here we have Nottinghamshire versus Derbyshire. Now we've already had Derbyshire mentioned. So is there anything else you want to add to it, Shield Maiden?
I think in this case, make the case for Nottinghamshire because we already talked about.
Okay. So Nottinghamshire, it's a very simple flag, really. It was designed in 2011, and again, one of these competitions, all this kind of democracy going on. But hey ho, it has the St. George's Cross on the green and white background, and in the middle we have the green silhouette of Robin Hood. Robin Hood, who is strongly associated with Nottinghamshire. Sherwood Forest is where he and his merry men were hiding out, resisting the tyranny and corruption of King John and the Sheriff of Nottingham, fighting for the king's justice in the absence of Richard I. And
just say he's an ancestor of yours already.
He may well be an ancestor of mine, which would be wonderful. And the silhouette is based on an actual statue of Robin Hood, which is at Nottingham Castle. So it's in the silhouette shape of that statue. So I think this does a really good job of connecting Nottinghamshire with its most famous character, famous person, and what it stands for, the things he fought for, the king's justice, defending the poor against the tyranny of those who would rob them, and returning their gold to them, fighting for the king while he is in prison. And I think it's a strong colour scheme on this flag as well. Much stronger than Derbyshire.
Well, I will say why I chose Derbyshire. Obviously, much has been discussed prior. But I just personally like the pleasing blue and green shades of it. I don't know, I mentioned earlier, the rose in the middle could be bigger. But I think it still is a nice colour scheme going on with the blue at the background and then the white outlining the cross in the middle. And I do think gold is a nice colour for that because it draws the eye in to the rose in the middle there. So that is why I like this flag. This flag.
I'm starting to question your character, Shield Maiden, because you start off with these really nice and powerful flags, and then you rank this washed out Derbyshire flag above this. Are you trying to insult me?
Look, no, but yes.
No, there was a really good, I saw there was a really good comment here in the chat, and you could say that said that you would understand that this is the Nottinghamshire flag the first time you see it, and I completely agree. It's a really unorthodox choice of green as well. This is the first time I've seen this. It's very few times I've seen this kind of dirty green or moss green on a flag.
It's kind of the colors you would see Robin Hood in.
Exactly. It really reminds you of a dark forest. It's an excellent choice of green. And this uses, I criticized, I think it was the Lincolnshire flag for using the yellow border in the white, and that it would have been better if that was white. And this flag does this correct. So it's a very interesting flag because it's interesting colors. It's kind of earthy colors, but it has a nice strong contrast, and it uses white in the absolute best way.
Hmm.
And it harkens on a really, really cool legend, the legend of Robin Hood. Easy victory for Nottinghamshire.
I think that was to be expected, especially as Derbyshire had lost last time earlier in
Yeah.
the.
Yeah, but I don't have the opportunity to change my choice.
Well, you
Yeah.
didn't have
No.
to rank it so highly, though. That is also true.
Because I like it, regardless of T Meadows.
None of you
Me-
should have put it in.
I
Brutal,
still like
brutal.
it. I still like it.
Okay, well, let us move to number 3. Number 3. So here we have the flags of Wiltshire and the flag of Northamptonshire. The Shield Maiden, tell us about why you've picked the Northamptonshire flag.
I liked that particular shade of red or aubergine, whatever color it is.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
It is bringing a maroon. So the yellow or gold and maroon, I think those are nice colors that go together. And the rose in the middle again is obviously the Judah rose, a very common symbol that's fitting to that area of the country as well. And then, of course, the big cross in the middle, which so many flags in England have as well. But yeah, really with this one, the main thing was because I think it's a very warm flag. Like the colors are very nice and rich, and yeah, I just get a lot of warmth from this flag as opposed to the Yorkshire flag that was, you know, the white rose and the blue background. It was very cool and refreshing. But this one is very warm, and I like that about it.
See, I'm wondering if to me it almost feels like somebody's taken one of the other flags and done a kind of reverse color trick on it. Do you know
But
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
these symbols
Inverted
are
the
common.
colors.
The symbols are common in England. They're going to have similarities.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm being cheeky. The flag of Wiltshire. This one is again the kind of the green and the white reflect the grass and the chalk of that region, and that is a big part of the southwest. The chalkiness, and you can see that in things like the Uffington White Horse.
But that's in Berkshire, not Wiltshire.
Well, then I shouldn't use that as an example, then, should I?
But there are white horses, other ones in Wiltshire. So
Thanks for saving me. There are white horses. Then the bird in the middle is a bustard bird, and these have been extinct for hundreds of years. But one of the only places that they were was in Wiltshire, and they're trying to rebreed them back into.
they are rebreeding them successfully back into existence.
Yes, and so it's emerging from the the pool of life, you might say, in this circle into reality. It is coming. There is life at the heart of it. It's a dynamic coming forth, and the circle itself, you'll see that there is white in it, and that's to represent 2 of the stone rings, or the rings of kind of Neolithic stone, Stonehenge, and the Avery stone circle, and these six kind of patches in the ring mark the 6 counties that border Wiltshire as well. So there's a lot going on in this flag, and I think it. I just like this bird with the corn in his beak. He is busy doing his thing. He is enjoying life. He is causing a nuisance to the farmer. This is the Wiltshire way.
Nathan definitely has the best story on his flag. Especially just chilling, causing a nuisance to the farmer.
And as you'll know, Shield Maiden, Wiltshire is a place where there is a lot of farming, isn't there? It's like a big part of the West Country.
It's a very rural county. Yeah.
So they will be used to being bothered by such birds. That's why they drove them extinct in the first place, I imagine.
They probably were delicious, you know that.
Mm-hmm.
And the shapes of these stripes, is this a hilly region? Is this supposed to be valleys or something?
No, not necessarily. It isn't. It's a lot of it is flat compared to a lot of other places in England. It's actually quite flat.
All right.
I thought that those stripes had to do with maybe I'm remembering wrong. I thought they had to do with all the stone hinges and stuff, like the colours representing other things, but the shape of them representing the stones. But obviously I could be wrong.
I have a question about the Wiltshire flag. Is this an old flag where this is digital colors for gold embroidery?
No, this is the new flag of 2009.
I was afraid of that.
No, why? What's wrong with it?
It says that the flag is manufactured in green and gold onto white material.
Okay, so it is. All right. Can we have an example of that?
Yeah, let me find one for you.
Because I know that shade of yellow is often used as code, as a vector code for printing in gold.
I need to find a good example here.
Okay, so the way the lines are, the 6 portions are also representing the 6 surrounding counties, because Wiltshire is landlocked, so there's 6 counties around of it. So yeah, there's representing the stone circle, but also because there's 6 of them, that's the 6 counties. But this flag looks like they generated it using AI for their product, so they could just swap the pictures between.
Yeah, it does.
But there was no AI in 2009. This doesn't make sense.
There's still digital enhancement and also.
I know it's not a digital enhancement. Do you have lots of T-shirt sites that do this the same way, that you have a base rendering of a T-shirt or a flag, and then you.
Is there no picture of the flag flying in a flagpole?
I can't find one very quickly.
No.
This one, I'm really in doubt of. This one is quite hard.
Well, why don't we give you a moment to think about it? Because I think it's time for an ad break, and then you can give us your result afterwards. It's like watching a reality TV show. What will happen? What will Mr. Meadows choose? Find out after this break. Cue smooth transition.
Everything you need to purchase the best gifts, the best things for yourself. Art, books, children's literature, fun pictures, serious pictures, expensive pictures, cheaper pictures. Whatever you need, this catalogue has got the best. It's fair income.
So yes, go to the corncrakemag.com or go to the Etsy shop, and you can find it. Somebody's got a lot of interference on their line. I will isolate. Yes, Shield Maiden, it is you. It is you.
My computer fan's running on high.
You are very loud now.
I haven't changed anything.
Okay, you're a bit better now.
Is it still loudness interference?
No, it is gone. It is gone.
Excellent.
Obviously, that advert broke your laptop.
Well, my Mad Hatter Act is too much for my laptop.
Yes. So let's bring back these 2 flags. And Mr. Meadows, have you made a grand decision?
I really like this idea of the Wiltshire flag, and if I could confirm that it's actually golden, so it would reflect light, I would say it's an absolutely excellent flag.
Let us form. Sorry, I interrupted.
But I have yet to see that. Because if it is this shade that it was also on the preview of that website you showed me, the bird kind of disappears a bit, and that is a bit of a wasted potential. I also I mostly dwelt on the Wiltshire flag, and I kind of like it. It's almost there, but I also really like the Northamptonshire flag because it has a bold color choice in the same way as Nottinghamshire has. with earthy colors. This one is almost like a sunset color scheme. And the rose, they've been bold enough. Yeah, I don't quite agree with putting the rose in the center like this. I would prefer it to be in maybe one of the rectangles, but this is what it is. But at least they have the boldness to have the rose bloom outside of the invisible box that the black beams are drawing in the center, which is really fitting for a flower motif. And this uses a black border in a really cool way. It uses the black border in the same way that I basically as the same principle as I gave points to the previous flag for, but that one used white. So I really like both of these flags, but they kind of missed with the color on the bird. So I'm going to have to give this to Northamptonshire.
Oh wow! Okay, that was a big moment.
Woohoo!
So that leaves it currently. We have 5-3 to Shield Maiden. So I really have to pull it out the bag with these last two.
You do
to draw this. Otherwise, it's a victory.
Bring it on.
So, without further ado, we have from me the flag of Kent, and from Shield Maiden the flag of Westmoreland. So I will just add to the flag of Kent a little bit. We've already spoken a fair, about its origins with Hengist and Horsa, the horse, coming from him, his Saxon emblem, the strength of it, the wildness of it, the untamed and kind of noble glory of the Saxon people establishing themselves, confronting the Britons, and so forth. And maybe the Kentish folk feel that way too. They look across from the east to the rest of the country and are saying, we are who we are, and you're not going to beat us down. At the same time, it is actually the case that there were on Roman coins and potentially pre-Roman coins horses as well. So I think that there could be something to be said of maybe it has even older roots for the people there, predating the Saxons and maybe even the Romans in that region.
Aren't both horses and oxen both old signs of wealth? So it would make sense to have them on coins.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yes. And I think there's something to be said as well of identifying with a noble animal, one that's been, domesticated to a certain extent, but it's tying man with nature. It's saying I am this aspect of the world, that I'm not something removed from my surroundings. I belong to this kind of creature, this power that's within me is shared by this beast, and it represents who I am in a way that, like, if you think of like the Saxons and the men who become bears or the men who become wolves, there's a strong kind of tying together with other animals in these peoples, and I see that with this horse, a kind of pagan idea here that's built into this. There isn't, we've had a lot of crosses, the Christian symbolism. I feel like this is very tied here. And then I would add to it as well that I think it just the color scheme again, we mentioned it earlier, but it's very striking and clear, the white on the red background, and it's almost an inversion of the English flag in that respect. The English flag is the white St. George's cross with the red, the white background with the red St. George's cross, the white horse on the red background. So you still see this as an English flag, but it's the inversion shows the strong regional distinction of it.
So I think this flag would kind of look better if the background wasn't white, blending in with the top and the bottom, to be honest. But this is actually in the middle is a stylized apple tree. So Westmoreland is one of the Lake District counties. And the stripes, there's some important families there, and the stripes are from there. represents them. But yeah, I think this is particularly nice. It's a memorable flag as well. I think it just looks good because it's just ordinary stripes across, but then there's a really nice design in the middle of it, which I think is kind of unique in a way. Not being on a plain background or anything, having the design go over all of the stripes like that. I think that makes it unique, and it does stand out, I think, the gold or yellow on the red and white background.
Yeah, I agree with you there. This powerful yellow stands out against both the red and the white, though the red makes it scream a little bit. But it's a very interesting motif with not so lots of nice details. But I kind of disagree with you on the stripes, because the stripes have too many tangents with the small circular pollen. And I think this yellow is powerful enough that it would be a lot clearer and a lot nicer on white. But in general, it's a nice flag. And we already discussed Kent before. And I'm going to have to say that in this case, the horse of Kent will be chewing and spitting out the flag of Westmoreland.
Yeah, because horses like apples, don't they?
Yes. I think this Westmoreland flag would be stronger with just a white background. And you can still keep you could still have had the red outlines. That would be fine. That would have helped it. But with these these thick red fields, they just serve as a distraction. This one goes to Kent. Nathan, you're muted.
Sorry about that. You've set this up really nicely, Mr. Meadows, for a grand finale. We're at 4-5. I need a point to tie it. Shield Maiden, a point to win it. What will be the best flag in this country? The county flag. Have we already seen it? Perhaps. Any guesses, Mr. Meadows, as to what they might be so far?
No
guesses. Okay, well, let us go into it. I may present to you the flag of Berkshire and the flag of Wiltshire. I'm already holding my head in my hands because your reaction to the flag of Berkshire was vociferous and didn't even deserve it to be on this list. But I am going to do my best to defend it now.
Go ahead.
Before Shield Maiden well, Shield Maiden, do you want to add anything to the flag of Wiltshire? I should let you go first.
Should we speak, or should we just let Meadows decide?
No, give me your final arguments for both of these flags.
So the reason the Wiltshire flag,
before, but you put them on the top.
So the Great Plains bastard here deserves to win. Like, seriously, it's cool. And I know it's hard. I did send you, Nathan, on Discord a flag. I tried to find one of it actually flying in the wild so we can show that, see the colours of it. But I just think it's a unique design with how the lines are. It's a cool bird. Who doesn't like the Great Plains bastard? It's coming back from extinction just like we need to do. It's representative of the counties around it, the history there with the Stonehenges. I just think it in a nice green colour. I think the wavy lines give it some energy. That bird is a bird like the corncrake is a bird. Both of them under threat of extinction. Both of them need to come back, and we should support both of these birds. A vote for the Wiltshire flag is a vote for the corncrake. And I want to make one last point in favour of the Wiltshire flag. When this discussion started on Twitter, it was Wiltshire flag versus not the Berkshire flag. Nathan here chose a completely different flag as his main flag. Nottinghamshire, to be precise. Then when he goes looking at flags, he then changes his mind and chooses this one. This Wiltshire flag should win because it is chosen by consistency. I've been consistent all the way through with this flag. The Wiltshire flag is simply the best flag of all of the counties of England.
I'm unsure that whether your constancy adds anything of value to this flag, other than you are brainwashed into loving it so much. But I feel mean now. You're not
Go
replying.
stand under your crippled tree, boy.
Well, Berkshire. Where do we begin with this? We've already heard that it's from referencing Herne the Hunter, but did you know that Herne the Hunter is first mentioned in 1597 in a play by none other than William Shakespeare, drawing on surely oral traditions that sweep back perhaps into kind of Neolithic primeval England. That is the suggestion, because this figure, Herne the Hunter, not only is he a kind of ghostly figure with antlers and he rides a stag around the county, terrorizing animals and people, causing crops to fail, blood to pour out of things. But he may indeed be a reference or inspired by, drawn from ancient pagan deities who had similar characteristics. Think of the Wild Hunt in Norse mythology, where Odin leads the Asgardians, at the full moon or at midsummer, and they ride out and they kidnap various people to take back to be their servants, to be their treasure, to be their playthings. This is Herne the Hunter that is represented on this flag. How bold, how daring do these people have to be that they would put this kind of Lovecraftian entity upon themselves and say, we serve this reality, we belong to this being. And then the oak itself, the oak, when that tree was felled at the Lake District by those thugs, it caused an opening in many people's hearts. It wounded us, and many people felt something had been unleashed into the country through that horrible act. In the same way, this wounded tree symbolizes the tear in reality which has allowed a Herne the Hunter into Berkshire, into the world, and until it is healed, the land cannot be healed. Herne the Hunter will haunt England forevermore. So for these reasons, I feel the true horror, the true terror of this flag means that it should stand at the top of the county's list.
I think these are all superb arguments for drawing that flag properly, which it hasn't been done. I still have my opinion on this flag, and then putting at the number 1 of the list doesn't change that.
Oh no! I mean,
and to both of you both of you have chosen better flags than these. So I'm a bit puzzled by your rating.
I choose this flag based on emotion, as is my right as a woman, and I will stick to it.
Well, that explains it then.
I thought you were using logic and reason throughout this.
My logic and my reason is that I am a woman. Therefore, the Wiltshire flag is best.
Makes sense. I have no other such excuse other than I was drawn in by the mythology and legends of this.
Did you just Google ChatGPT to give you a reason, give you a little speech?
No, that was all inspired from my soul. See what Herne the Hunter has done? He's inflamed my heart with old rustic ways and green men dancing in the twilight. This flag calls to me in a dark way.
Yeah, no, there was too much rhythm and emotion for that to be written by AI. Absolutely. So points for that. Points for that, and you should bring that pathos and goad the people that drew the flag of Berkshire. Make sure they actually draw a proper one. So I guess I have to give this one to the Wiltshire flag that was limping out before and then is limping back in again here.
Somehow it lost to Northamptonshire, but it's ended up top. So make of that what
That's
you will.
because I strategize when No. I get the flag before earlier, the different one, and then I could tell based on Meadows' reaction that I had a very good chance because I knew that was my first flag. And poor you, probably quaking in your boots thinking of Berkshire after he ripped that poor stag apart.
Well, you will notice I was very quiet during that conversation. It's the only time I didn't make a single comment on what any of your flags she had made.
But I think
So-
this is a good flag, and maybe it's not the most brilliant one in England, but it is a symbol of hope for the future. The Great Plains bastard is coming back.
Indeed. Indeed. It overcomes the horror of Berkshire and Herne the Hunter. With that, I have a. So let me give the final results. We have, for me, I got 4 flags. Shield Maiden got 5. So Shield Maiden, you have come out on top. You have persuaded Mr. Meadows far more eloquently and brilliant than me. So hats off to you.
She has gotten 6 flags, hasn't she?
Sorry, 6 flags. Sorry. Yes, let me update that. And I can read the flags out. So we have Buckinghamshire, Kent, Buckinghamshire, Leicestershire, Yorkshire, Leicestershire, Nottinghamshire, Northamptonshire, Kent, and Wiltshire. So a couple of repetitions, but I think that shows that those ones were strong flags. Meadows, if you were to pick one of these flags as your favorite from the whole thing, and I can go back through it, which would you pick?
It's a difficult one, but it's between the flag of Kent with a white horse, Nottinghamshire, which is the absolutely most original, and Leicestershire with the lovely movement.
I think that's pretty fair.
But
They're all very aesthetically pleasing flags.
But as like for one to be like be crowning above the rest of them, I would think I would go for. Can you go back a bit? Yes, I think I would end up on Leicestershire because it is the most glowing of the flags. Nottinghamshire has really strong colors and it's really bold for a flag. But if I were to pick one to be like to hover and shine above the others, the other 2 really strong flags it will have to be Leicestershire.
Well, if I'm going to see if I can make a poll here, so that
I'm a bit surprised that there are no flags with any lions.
A lot of those flags aren't county ones, they're more ones representing the king or the country or something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Not
Then, yeah.
really county ones.
Yeah, the lion is a bit out of this league.
Am I allowed to answer any comments in the comments section?
Yes, go ahead.
So the bird, I call it a Great Plains bastard. It is a great bustard. That is the species of birds, but they are reintroducing them or have successfully reintroduced them on the Salisbury Plains. So that's why I call it Great Plains bastard, because that sounds good. And someone asked about the In the Weave magazine. So if that's not out in June, it should certainly be out by the end of July. But getting people to send in articles has been very difficult, even when I reach out to people. So it is slow because it takes me time to gather things for it. So if you want to see it sooner, write me an article. You asked, does Britain have a Great Plains region? Obviously, it's not going to be big as other countries like the US and Canada. There is areas of plains. We don't call them Great Plains. It's a great bustard on the Salisbury Plains. So there's no Great Plains area. But yes, I think that is all the questions I saw that I can answer.
Yeah, I would just add the lion aspect is the royal one, as you said. So it would be pretty daring. And I think in Scotland you get more lions, to be honest, as well. But maybe that's because they're not worried about the English kings having lions on theirs. I have put a poll in the chat with your top 3, Mr. Meadows. So we will see what democracy brings to the table, if anything good. We will close that in a moment. But I wanted to ask a further question while this poll's going on. If we were to design a new county flag with a corncrake on it, what design and colours would you think are appropriate?
Is that a question for me or for the audience?
For both of you. As the Merry Corncrakes.
What I would do is that I would consider for 5 minutes and then I would ask T Meadows to design it.
Well, I would, yeah. Well, it would depend on the region. What kind of nature do you have there?
Well, where do corncrakes come from, Shield Maiden?
So they used to be all over England in marshy areas due to modern
Mhm.
farming methods. They're mostly on the top part of Scotland, but anywhere in like marshy areas or anywhere in England, you could find them. That's their natural habitat. Though yes, now it's a bit. I think there's a bit in Northern Ireland, a bit in the top of Scotland, and that's where they're the only place they're left.
Yeah, the first thing that springs to my mind then is a somewhat menacing idea, because I imagine a black background with a white corncrake on it.
What about a dead
It's like a shining little bird of hope amidst the black and unforgiving marshlands.
Can we give the little bird a halo?
Yeah, sure. But then it seems more like a funeral flag or something.
How is a halo funerary? Halo's religious.
Yeah, it means that you've been taken up to heaven. It means you're dead.
Well, most of the corncrakes are going that way, so it's realistic. At least.
Basically saying that all the inhabitants of this region would rather be dead than living there. Rather than being shining hopes in the dark marshlands. It's like saying, oh, they're just giving up.
But if I saw a halo, I would just think, all of the pictures of Jesus and the saints, they all got halos on. I don't think of all of them as death and dead. They're supposed to be symbols of hope, aren't they? Or have I got my religion wrong?
No, you are right. It's a symbol of divinity, right? But often, unless you're Jesus or one of these, the Virgin Mary, most get their halos in the have already departed to the afterlife. They've been recognized as saints. But I'm more concerned that this is a very macabre flag for the corncrake. Is this the kind of vibe we want to give for this county?
Yeah, that's another thing as well, because if you give it a halo, like, are there any saints that are animals?
There should be.
Why?
Because it would be fun. Look, if St. Cuthbert liked the seals and all that, surely a little halo on an innocent bird is not sacrilegious.
I like this suggestion.
I'm not so sure about that.
This is offensive. Corncrake, what? Restrained? It will not be restrained.
Restrain its masculine virility.
I don't know if it's virile. I half think of the corncrake as a girl character and also a boy, so I don't know. It's mixed in my mind.
The transcrake.
It is not. Don't you dare! I will sue you for blasphemy if you go around saying that.
No, but another good combination could also be like a deep blue background with a white corncrake on it.
Well, can it be doing fun stuff like your one's smoking and my one has pince nez on? So we could have a fun crake.
A fun crake. This sounds a good idea.
A drunk crake.
I think it should be running or taken to flight.
Can it be screeching as well? Squawking away?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I have news. Our poll is closed, and the flag of Kent has won by a whopping 50%.
It's a really good flag.
It is a good flag. So the viewers, I think, have shown good worth of this stream. They are educated. They know what they're talking about. They have done well. So well done, fellows. You have achieved better than I did, I think, in this competition. So the Wiltshire flag wins the official
as
competition.
I stated many moons ago on Twitter. I was correct.
You have emerged victorious. Many wonder how, many wonder why, but you have emerged victorious. And
really, they wonder how and why.
I think
You thought
we
your smooth words could beat me.
I thought my deceptive fox-like nature would triumph, but instead I was defeated by
Foxes do
poor
not beat the
execution.
Great Plains bastard.
You used the fox card too early. You should have put it at the top.
No, I should have brought that out at the end. Anyhow, I think we are drawing towards the end of this stream. I would like to ask Mr. Meadows, is there anything you would like to promote, good sir?
Yes, I would like to promote meeting up in real life and playing games together. Maybe a game of cards or darts or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'd like to order a set of very particular playing cards with motifs inspired by Norse mythology, you can order them over at radloot.com or send the designer a message on X, also on Radloot, at Radloot.
Indeed, I actually thought the Leicestershire flag was a little bit like your cards.
A little bit. It's true. The brand account has a fox on it that has overcome resentment, and it has gotten the grapes rather than leaving them and saying that they're sour.
I know where I can find a little clip that includes an image of your work. So let me see if I can share this advert. Is this little fellow reading? Let us take a closer look. Ah, yes, the L&A catalogue, the premier place for excellent and exquisite art and literature, produced by independent artists and authors from the UK and around the world. Buy your copy on the Corncrake Mag Etsy or read it for free on the corncrakemag.com. Do it now!
Go read it.
Go and read it. Go and read it and go and get those cards. Shield Maiden, what would you like to promote?
Yes, I need to promote the L&A catalogue, as you just saw. There is less than 20 copies left to purchase, and they're only £5 each, so get in quick because when they're gone, they're gone. You can, for free, watch the. Obviously, all of the pictures look way better in person because you're actually seeing the art printed out, and it's much better to hold a physical thing. But if you want to check it out beforehand, you can go to corncrakemag.com and you can see the catalogue there in PDF form. Also, the June edition of the Corncrake is out now. It's been out for about 2 weeks now. So it's available. So head on there and check out that as well. Quickly to mention the Etsy. Basically, it's etsy.com/shop/corncrakemag. That's how you get to the Etsy shop. But there are links on it on the website too.
The lovely brothers Quinn are requesting links in the chat. Would those be posted in the show notes later?
I will do those in the show notes either tonight or tomorrow. So they will be going in. So yes, they will all be going there.
You can even access the links if you go to the Corncrake's Twitter. Both the links should be on my Twitter page at the top there.
Well, all that remains for me to do is to first thank the audience. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for participating. I have enjoyed seeing all of your opinions and all of your views. And certainly when you were slagging off some of my choices, I particularly enjoyed that. Thank you, Mr. Meadows, for being a fine judge. And I think you stuck to your task with nobility and insight. And thank you. Well, and thank you, Shield Maiden. You have been a great competitor, a great contestant, a great challenger, and I will get my revenge in this life or the next.
Can you make it the next life so I can plan to go to a different afterworld?
I will meet you with Herne the Huntsman in due course.
Oh, no hope for me then.
Cheerio, everybody. Good night.
Good night.